7.2 Digestive System. The objectives are very important. By the end of your studying, you have to go back to the objectives and make sure that you can fulfill them. The digestive system, just like any other body system, it's made of a group of organs that carry out digestion or carry out a specific function. In our case here, it is digestion. It includes the alimentary canal, the liver, and the pancreas. So, what's the alimentary canal? The alimentary canal, it is the pathway of the food. It is the part of the digestive system in which the food passes. Starts with the mouth, and then the esophagus, and then the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and then finally the anus. So, the process of digestion. The process of digestion starts with ingestion. In starts with an in. So, this means that taking the food inside your body. Of course, it happens in your mouth. And then digestion. Digestion is when you break down food into smaller parts or smaller molecules. And then absorption. Absorption, it is the movement of the nutrients after they are being digested and broken down into water-soluble monomers from the alimentary canal into the blood. And then assimilation. Assimilation is what happens after the nutrients are in the blood. They go to each cell. So assimilation is when the cell takes in those nutrients inside it to use it. And then egestion. Egestion is the removal of undigested food out of the body as feces. So again, the alimentary canal, as we said before, it is the part of the digestive system in which the food passes until it gets egested. So it contains muscles that contract and relax. This movement is called peristalsis. When the muscles of the alimentary canal contract and relax to move food forward, this is peristalsis. And also there are sphincter muscles. What are sphincter muscles? They close or open parts of the alimentary canal. Why? To prevent the flowing back of food and to make sure that food is going in only one direction. Also, the alimentary canal is lubricated by mucus, not only mucus and water too, but we will concentrate on mucus now because it's made by goblet cells. Why? To slide the food easily along the alimentary canal. So here we go. These are the parts of the digestive system. You will see here the mouth containing teeth and salivary glands. Salivary glands responsible for the production of saliva. Saliva contains enzymes like amylase and also contains water and mucus to lubricate the passage of food. When food passes from the mouth to the esophagus, it is called the bolus of food. Here you can see the palate and here you can see the epiglottis. The palate, specifically the last part here, the soft palate, closes the nasal cavity while you're swallowing your food to prevent the food from going into the nasal cavity. And then the food slides into your esophagus. And as it passes through the pharynx, which is a joined tube between the air pathway and the food pathway, the epiglottis here closes the air pathway. We will learn later that it's called the trachea. Then now the food can pass safely without going into the nasal cavity or the trachea into the esophagus and then to the stomach. Here we have the sphincter muscle. Why do I need it? to prevent food from flowing back into the esophagus, because the stomach is made of muscles that will contract to break down food physically. So I need to make sure that when the stomach contracts, the food does not flow back into the esophagus. So here we have a sphincter muscle. After the stomach, the food flows into the small intestine. The very first part of the small intestine is called the duodenum, while the rest of the small intestine is called the ileum. So most of the chemical digestion happens here in the duodenum of the small intestine, and all of the absorption process happens here in the ileum. Then the food passes through the large intestine that's divided into the colon. Here, these are the parts of the colon, and the rectum, where feces are stored until they are egested. Here you see the anus, or the anal opening, from which feces exit the body. So this is a quick look at the alimentary canal. What about the liver and the pancreas? These are big glands responsible for the secretion of some enzymes and fluids and juices that will help in the digestion process. The liver produces a fluid called bile. Bile is stored into the gallbladder, and then it flows from the gallbladder here into the duodenum. How? Through the bile duct. So the liver makes bile that gets stored into the gallbladder and released into the duodenum through the bile duct. And here we have the pancreas. The pancreas produces a juice called the pancreatic juice that helps in the chemical digestion that happens in the duodenum. Let's answer some questions about the overview of the digestive system. The diagram shows some organs of the digestive system. Where is amylase made? Amylase, it is the enzyme responsible for breaking down of starch. It's made in the salivary glands of the mouth and also in the pancreas. So it's made in 1 and 4. The answer is A, 1 and 4. What is the function of the anus? The answer is already out. Egestion, which is the exiting of the feces from the body. Define the term enzyme. The keywords here must be 2 because, yes, the marks are 2. It is a protein that functions as biological catalyst. Figure 3.1 shows a diagram of part of the human alimentary canal and associated organs. Name the structure labeled A, B, C, and D. Please make sure when you have a labeling question that you follow the instructions carefully. If it says label on the diagram, we label on the diagram. If he gives you a different place to write the labels on, please make sure that you do so. So A is the liver, B stomach, C small intestine, or if you want to be more specific, this part is the ileum, and large intestine or the colon. Figure 3.2 also shows the diagram of a part of the human alimentary canal and organs. On figure 3.2, draw label lines with the letters to show E, where hydrochloric acid is made. HCl makes the medium acidic for some enzymes to work. So it's gonna be the stomach. Where bile is made in the liver. Where the amylase is made, since the mouth is not here, so the only option is the pancreas. H, where egestion occurs, which is the anus. Thank you, and I hope this video helps you study.